Well, Australia's medical regulator has granted provisional approval of the Moderna vaccine for people over the age of 18. The federal government has ordered a total of 25 million doses of the mRNA shot, with 10 million more due to arrive before the end of this year.
Which is great news for the vaccine rollout. The head of the Therapeutic Goods Administration, Skerritt, joins us now from Canberra. Professor Skerritt, good morning to you.
Yes, good morning, Michael.
As Norman Swan was just telling us, Moderna, this is a pretty effective vaccine, isn't it?
Yes, it's impressive, and what's also impressive is that some of the studies that have followed its effectiveness 6 months out have shown that there's no real significant decline. And so 6 months out, 93% protection from catching COVID, and just, if not more importantly, 98 to 100% protection from hospitalisation and death.
OK, so is it pretty much similar to Pfizer? It's also one of these mRNA vaccines.
It is. It actually has the advantage that it can be shipped at normal domestic freezer temperatures rather than ultra cold, but a lot of its characteristics are the same. It will be useful not only for initial vaccinations but also as a booster. So I've had my 2 AstraZeneca shots, but it's quite likely next year I'll need a booster, and that booster will probably be of a Pfizer or Moderna shot.
OK, so that could be the stage, mixing the vaccines in terms of booster shots.
Well, while the work on mixing is still being looked at, it's likely that it'll especially come into use when boosters are required. We just don't know how often and the gap in time between boosters, Mike. OK,
yeah, so the studies are still going on in terms of mixing shots. Say, you know, I have my first dose AZ, in terms of getting a second dose being Pfizer or Moderna. The jury's still out on that front.
Yeah, the studies are still going on. There's some work looking at blood samples and so forth that have been really positive, but the actual work on clinical protection on the disease is still going on. OK,
now tell us about the trial Moderna is floating to test its vaccine for really young children in Australia. How likely is that to happen?
Well, we haven't had a notification that they want to use Australia as a trial site. They've talked about looking at a number of countries. We were on a list, and many of the major companies are now looking at trials on kids down to 6 months old. Now, clearly, as soon as you vaccinate children or teenagers, safety becomes paramount, and we will obviously be working with them if they want to use Australia as a site, or alternatively if they do trials in the US and then subsequently they come to us for wanting to register the vaccine for young children in Australia.
OK, so our suite of vaccines now is Pfizer, AZ obviously, now Moderna. So Novavax is next on the list. How far is that away?
It's coming. They are still working on manufacture at large scale up, and it will be September, perhaps into early October, before they give us the rest of the data. It's important to know that we are able to look at data as it comes in. So we've already looked at a lot of Novavax data, and it does look good, but the critical issue is manufacturing enough to meet all the demand. But that's why the announcement of Moderna was so important, but we do expect Novavax to come along in the months to come. OK, which will be welcome news as well. Skerritt in Canberra, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Thank you, Mike.